All right, so today's lesson is 7.1.1 on ratios and proportions. We're actually splitting chapter 7 into two parts. We're going to talk mostly about ratios the next lesson. This lesson is focusing on proportions. So our essential question is to figure out what a proportion it is and how I can solve it. It's just going to be some algebra skills. All right, a proportion occurs when two ratios or fractions are equal. So this thing here is a proportion. 5 over 7 is equal to x over 14. That's a proportion. And what our main goal today is just to figure out how to solve problems like that. This one you might be able to just look at. Anybody know what x is going to be equal to for this problem?
10.
10, exactly right. How did you get 10?
7 is half of 14.
Yeah, because 10, yeah, so you just look at these. If you take 7 and multiply it by 2, you get 14. So if you take 5 and multiply it by 2, you'll get 10. Ratios have that property where if you multiply top and bottom by 2, you get an equal ratio or an equal fraction. So that is definitely one way to solve these problems. And that's a fine way to solve it. However, this one, it kind of is harder to solve like that. Like if I look from 12 to 14, there is something I can multiply to get to 40, but I don't know what it is. So today we're going to learn a different method to solve a problem like this. This might be one we already know. And in fact, this one actually isn't hard at all. Anybody know how to solve this problem? All right. One way we can solve it is the same thing we've been doing forever. There's a couple different ways, and we're going to actually do this one twice because there's going to be one way that that works every time, and there's going to be one way that works kind of uniquely. So let's talk about this one. Here's one way we can solve it that you probably already know. Algebra is about getting x by itself. If I wanted to get x by itself, I need to get rid of that 12. Right now it's x divided by 12. So if you want to get rid of the 12, what are you going to do?
Times 12.
Times by 12. Exactly right. Very good. We multiply both sides by 12. Those 12s cancel out. I get x by itself. And then on the other side, it's just 13/40 times 12. That I would use my calculator for. 13/40 multiplied by 12. I get 3.9. And it is done. All right, a problem like that. I'm going to ask, send a quick poll out. Easy to hard. How easy to hard does that feel to you? All right, mostly ones, twos, and threes. Good place to be. Then I am going to show you another way because there is a problem when I have the fraction like this. This one is significantly harder. What makes this one harder? Any guess? Any guess that makes this one look like, I think that's going to be a little bit harder, and here's why.
The A is on the bottom.
Yeah, the A is on the bottom, and that can be really annoying. So there's a way we can fix that. If the A is on the bottom and that's a problem, how could I get rid of that A so it's no longer on the bottom? All right, well, this is 18 divided by A. What's the opposite of dividing by A?
Multiplying by 18.
Actually, I'm going to multiply by A. And the reason I'm going to multiply by A is I thought it was annoying that this A was on the bottom. So one way I could get rid of that is by multiplying by A, because then on the left side, those A's are going to go away. And I'll get 18 by itself equals 24/5 times A. And then I'd have to get rid of the 5, and I'd have to get rid of the 24, and it's really kind of annoying. But we're going to show you a really slick way that works with all fractions. So hold on just a minute. If I wanted to get rid of the 5, how am I going to get rid of that 5? Actually, we could, yeah, multiply by 5. In fact, we could get rid of that whole fraction by multiplying by 5 over 24 if we want. That's a fine way of doing it too. The 24s cancel out, the 5s cancel out, and you get a by itself. And then I get 5 24ths times 18. I just put that in my calculator. I get 3.75. Right, that's a fine way of doing that. It solves it. It uses everything we know. It works just fine. There is a kind of slick way to make problems like this work, though. So I'm going to solve this one more time in a different way, and it might make things feel a little bit easier. So before I do it, I'm going to ask, solving it this way, how easy or hard does solving it that way feel? 1 easy, 5 hard. How easy or hard does that feel? I got to send the poll. Hold on. All right, here comes the poll. Yeah, a lot more 3s, 4s, and 5s. That's perfect. Okay, well, perfect. It's fine. That's just fine. But we're going to solve the same exact problem one more time, and we're going to solve it in a way that is going to make this a lot easier. So the problem was 18 over a equals 24 over 5. It's a method called cross multiplying. You might have heard of cross multiplying before. Cross multiplying is when you have 2 fractions, multiplying these 2 together is going to be equal to multiplying those 2 together. Before we actually do this, I'm just going to ask a yes or no. Does this sound familiar? Like, yes, I think I've done this before. No, I've never done this before. Or kind of like it's ringing a bell. Does this seem like something you've done before? All right, we're evenly split. A couple people definitely remember it, a couple people definitely don't, and a bunch of us are kind of. So here's how it works. When you do cross multiplying, you just multiply these 2 together. Let's see if I can highlight it. You multiply those 2 together. What's a times 24? That's just 24a. Equals, and then you do the same thing on the other side. You multiply those 2 together. And when you multiply those 2 together, 18 times 5, I would just use my calculator for that. 18 times 5 is 90. And all of a sudden, I get this problem, which is a much, much easier problem. If 24a equals 90, how do you get rid of that 24 so you get a by itself?
Divided by 24.
Divide by 24. Exactly right. Divide by 24. I get a by itself. 90 divided by 24 is 3.75. Same answer I got before. Take a look at that. This method on the right. How easy or hard does that one feel? So again, one more poll, easy to hard. Come in just a minute, my polls are taking a while. There we go. Yeah, 1s, 2s, and 3s, a lot easier. Excellent. So that's how we're going to solve these types of problems from here on out. Any time we have 2 fractions together, we're just going to cross multiply and we're going to solve them. Let's give it a shot. This one, oh my goodness, this one even looks harder. What makes this one look harder?
X plus 7.
Yeah, that x plus 7 makes it look harder. But don't worry, it's the same thing. We're going to do that cross multiplying thing. We're going to multiply these 2 together, and we're going to multiply those 2 together. Let's start with 5 and the x times 7. When I do 5 times x plus 7, you can write it like this. 5 times, actually I'm going to keep that in black. 5 times x plus 7 equals, and what's it going to equal?
30.
30, right on the money. Now it looks like something we've seen before. We know how to take care of these parentheses. You just take that 5 and you multiply it through. So I'm going to take that 5 and I'm going to multiply it through. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 7 is 35. And then we're almost done. To get rid of the 35, get rid of that plus 35, we're going to subtract 35, because subtracting is the opposite of adding. 35 minus 35 is 0, so those are going to go away. I'll get 5x by itself equals -5. And lastly, divide by 5 to get rid of that 5. X would be -1. All right. This is the type of stuff we're going to do today. It's just cross multiplying. One last time, because I'm curious with this x plus 5, if that's, sorry, with that x plus 7, if that's making it harder. 1 through 5, how easy or hard does it feel when you got that x plus 7 there? All right, lots of 1s and 2s. Some people not voting. Again, that worries me. If it's hard, you should say it's hard, because then I'll slow down and I'll talk more about it. If it's easy, you should say it's easy, because then I'll speed this up so you can have time to more time to do homework. Excellent. Let's just try it then. I'm going to have you guys try one. So what I would like you to do, I'm going to pause this video. You guys give this one a try and see if you can tell me what the answer is. When you get the answer, just put it in the chat box. So we're trying this one out on our own. Maybe get a piece of paper and pencil out. See if you can do that cross multiplying thing. When you get your answer, put your answer in the chat box so I can see it and see how well we're getting this thing. All right, I'm getting a couple answers in and I'm sending messages back to people who are answering. I'm just gonna ask if anybody needs more time, so I know if I should wait before we go over it. So yes, I need more time, or no, go ahead, go over this, Mr. Anderson. Yes, I need more time, or no, I don't. All right, one person said yes, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. Give it a, go ahead. For the 3 people that said no, send me something in the chat, because I didn't get an answer. So maybe you could say, I don't know how to do it, or it's hard, or I got stuck, or something like what happened. Because I got a bunch of people saying they don't need more time, but they didn't give me an answer either, right? So like, let me know what's going on with that. You can just send me a message in the chat. I've got a few more responses back. We're going to go ahead and solve this one, and then we'll be done with our lesson. So to solve this, we do some cross multiplying. 2 times y plus 2. I could do that in my head, but I'm just going to write it out. 2 times y plus 2, using those parentheses. On the right side, 5 times 3. That I can do in my head. 5 times 3 is 15. Now to get rid of those parentheses, we're going to take that 2 and we're going to multiply it through. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 2 is 4. That'll equal 15. And then from here, it's easy. To get rid of that plus 4, we're going to minus 4. We get 2y by itself equals 11. And then to get rid of that 2 times y, we're going to do the opposite of multiplying. We're going to divide by 2. And we get y equals 5.5. Excellent. That's the type of stuff we're going to do today. That's it. We don't need this one. Same type of thing. Our assignment is page 436, 17 through 25 odd, and 42. So there's only like, I think that's like 6 problems. I'm going to stop the video. And then everybody who's here, if you want to stay and do the homework together, that's what we're doing next. If you prefer doing the homework on your own, you can feel free to leave. I'll see you later.